said, Tim and I are staying 2 nights in this hotel in Norseman because we had a breakdown yesterday. I'll just show you around. Okay. It's a very small little town. There's a pub down the road where we had dinner last night, and an IGA where we did a little bit of grocery shopping this morning. So this is inside we've got a big room, really big room here. Air conditioning, which we needed yesterday because it was 35 degrees Celsius. One of the locals was telling us there's a ghost here apparently. We haven't seen her. A little old lady who walks around in the middle of the night, but we slept like the dead last night. Pardon the kind of pun. Anyway, so what happened yesterday, we were about 30 kilometres out of not a town, a fuel stop called Balladonia, and about 30 k's before that fuel stop, our battery warning light came on, and there was nothing we could do but to keep driving. And so once we had refueled at Balladonia, the van would not start at all. So Tim had a small device that we could jump start the van, which we did, and we attempted to drive the 114 kilometres to Norseman, which is where we are today, because that was a town, and there has not been a town for the last 1,300 kilometres on the Nullarbor. So there was a mechanic here, we contacted him. So anyway, what happened was there was a 190 kilometre drive to the next town of Norseman, which we attempted to do in the van, but the alternator was the problem. So the alternator wasn't charging the battery, so we only got about 80 kilometres down the road when the van just slowed right down to a crawl. Tim was driving in first gear on this road that has massive trucks going by and a lot of caravans. Luckily there was no one. We came to a slope and he was in first gear and we were crawling up. There was nowhere to pull over at the side of the road. Thankfully the van made it to the top. We coasted down some ways and we found enough dirt that we could pull over to the side of the road. We rang the NRMA, the Road Service, New South Wales. They put us through to Western Australia. They put us through to the mechanic here in Norseman, and he said that his tow truck was broken down, so he couldn't come and pick us up. He couldn't tow us, so he came up with a plan B. He was going to send his employee Jason out with a spare battery, change the battery in the van so that we could drive the distance 114 k's to Norseman, and he ordered an alternator for us, which hasn't arrived yet. As far as I know, I haven't heard from him. We waited 6 hours yesterday for his employee Jason to arrive with a battery. It was 35 degrees Celsius. There were millions of flies. It was really horrible. There was a little bit of shade. I don't do well in the heat. And so by the time the lovely fellow arrived and changed and put in a battery that was charged into the van, we only had about half an hour until it got dark, and we didn't have any lights because the alternator wasn't working, so the battery that he put in was slowly being drained, and we had to use the spotlights. Thank goodness we had spotlights, but every time a oncoming vehicle was coming, we had to turn the spotlights off because they were blinding, and then once the vehicle had passed, turn them on again. And I think we were about almost 5 kilometres from this town when Tim said, "We're losing power, shall we pull into a rest area?" And I went, no. I wanted to come to an air-conditioned hotel, have a nice dinner, have a shower, wash my hair and sleep in a bed. And we made it to the town, parked in front of the hotel, and across the road is the mechanic. And we saw him this morning and he said he was going to go and see whether the alternator had arrived or not, because he ordered it on the border, he said, of the time where you could get it delivered the next day. So there's not really enough room. I mean, there's a lot of room in here, but there's no space, no sort of counter space to do artwork. So no artwork's happening today, it's a rest day. But I'll post some photos I took in the street of the murals and our wonderful dinner we had last night. We were so relieved to get to a town, be off the Nullarbor, and not be at that roadside stop where we were yesterday. So thanks for stopping by, thanks for watching. I will endeavour to do art again for the next video. Bye for now.